His wife looked him dead in the eye and said, "I'm sleeping with my boss to get a promotion, and if you can't deal with it, get a divorce." Most men would have broken down, screamed, begged. Grant Ellison smiled, because 3 days later, at her birthday party in front of 200 guests, FBI agents dragged her out in handcuffs while the screens behind her played footage of everything she thought was hidden. Her affair, her crimes, her lies. And the twist? He didn't just destroy her life. He took her lover's billion-dollar company, exposed a criminal conspiracy, and turned her dream promotion into a prison sentence. This is the story of the quietest man who delivered the loudest revenge in history. But before we get there, you need to understand how perfect things looked before it all came crashing down. And hey, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely, hit that like button right now. You're going to want to see how this ends. Grant Ellison wasn't the kind of rich guy you'd notice in a crowd. No flashy cars. No loud personality. No designer suits covered in logos. He wore simple clothes, spoke softly, smiled rarely. But if you knew who to ask, you'd learn the truth. Grant was worth more money than most people could count in a lifetime. His family owned stakes in tech companies, real estate empires, investment firms that moved billions like pocket change. He inherited it all when his parents died in a plane crash 5 years ago. And he hated every second of the attention that came with it. So he disappeared into the background, let his trustees run the businesses, lived quietly in a penthouse overlooking the city, spending his days reading, investing carefully, and loving his wife. Sloane. God, he loved Sloane. She was everything he wasn't. Bright, social, ambitious. She lit up every room she walked into, and when she laughed, it sounded like music. They met at a charity event 7 years ago. She was a junior marketing coordinator, barely scraping by, working 2 jobs to pay off student loans. He was there because his family's foundation was hosting it. She didn't know who he was, didn't care about his money, just talked to him like he was normal. He fell for her that night. They married 2 years later in a small ceremony, just family and close friends. No media, no fuss. Grant wanted to give her the world. So when she mentioned she wanted to work at Hale Dynamics, one of the top tech firms in the country, he made a few quiet calls, got her an interview. She crushed it, got hired as a senior project manager. She never knew he helped, and he never told her, because he wanted her to feel like she earned it. Their life together was simple but beautiful. Morning coffee on the balcony, her cooking dinner while dancing to old songs, him watching her from the doorway, just smiling, thinking he was the luckiest man alive. She'd kiss his cheek and call him my quiet storm. He'd hold her close and whisper, "You're my whole world." 4 or 5 years, that was their life. Until 3 weeks ago, when Grant's whole world shattered in a single text message. It was a Tuesday morning. Grant was making coffee when Sloane's phone buzzed on the counter. She was in the shower, singing off key like she always did. He wasn't the jealous type. Never checked her phone. Never questioned where she was. But the screen lit up with a preview. "Victor Hale. Can't wait for tonight. Your clueless hubby still thinks you're working late?" Smirking face. Grant stared at it. Read it again. His hand didn't shake. His heart didn't race. He just stopped. Victor Hale. Her boss. The CEO of Hale Dynamics. The man whose company dinners Grant had attended. Shaking his hand, smiling politely while Victor talked about quarterly earnings and market share. That Victor Hale. Grant set the coffee down slowly, walked to his office, closed the door, and made a phone call. "Marcus, it's Grant Ellison. I need a full surveillance setup installed in my penthouse within 6 hours. Undetectable. Every room. Audio and video. Can you do it?" Marcus Cho was the best in the business. Former intelligence operative turned private security consultant. If you needed something done quietly and perfectly, you called Marcus. "Grant, what's going on?" "Just do it. Money's not an issue. I'll be out of the apartment from noon to 6. That's your window." Done. Grant hung up, walked back to the kitchen, poured Sloane's coffee just the way she liked it. 2 sugars, a splash of cream. She came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, hair dripping, smiling that gorgeous smile. Morning, baby. He handed her the mug, kissed her forehead. Morning, beautiful. She sipped her coffee, scrolled through her phone, didn't even flinch. I'm working late tonight, she said casually. Big presentation prep with Victor and the team. Grant nodded. No problem. I'll grab dinner with a friend. She kissed him on the cheek and disappeared into the bedroom to get dressed. Grant stood there in the kitchen, staring at nothing, and something inside him went cold. Not angry, not sad, just cold. By Thursday, the cameras were live. Grant sat in his office, laptop open, watching feeds from every room in the penthouse. Living room, kitchen, bedroom, even the guest bathroom. He felt sick doing it, felt like a creep. But he had to know. That night, Sloane said she was working late again. Grant told her he'd be at the gym, then meeting his lawyer about estate planning. He left at 6, drove to a hotel 3 blocks away, checked into a suite under a fake name, opened his laptop, and watched. At 7:14 p.m., the front door of the penthouse opened. Sloane walked in, tossed her purse on the couch, poured herself a glass of wine. At 7:52 p.m., the door opened again. Victor Hale walked in like he owned the place. Tall, handsome, mid-40s with graying temples and an expensive suit. He grabbed Sloane by the waist and kissed her hard. She laughed, pulled him toward the bedroom. Grant's bedroom. The bed he shared with her. He watched them for 11 minutes before he closed a laptop. Sat there in the dark hotel room. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just breathed. Then he opened his laptop again. Rewound the footage. Started taking notes. Because Grant Ellison wasn't the kind of man who acted on emotion. He was the kind of man who planned. On Saturday morning, Grant made breakfast. Pancakes, her favorite. Sloane came out in one of his t-shirts, looking sleepy and perfect. He smiled at her, handed her a plate. I have to fly to Singapore on Monday, he said casually. Some trust fund stuff. Boring meetings. I'll be gone about 5 days. Her eyes lit up, just for a second. Then she controlled it. Oh no, baby. That's so sudden. I know, but it's important. I'll miss you. She hugged him, kissed his neck. I'll miss you too. He held her close, smelling her shampoo, memorizing the feeling, because he knew it was the last time he'd ever hold her like this. Monday morning, Grant packed a bag. Kissed Sloane goodbye at the door. I love you, he said. Love you too, she whispered. He walked out, got in the car, drove to the same hotel 3 blocks away, and settled in to watch the show. Victor arrived at the penthouse 2 hours after Grant left for the airport. This time, Grant recorded everything. They didn't even bother being discreet. Champagne in the living room, making out on the couch, moving to the bedroom. But it was what they said afterward that destroyed him. They lay in bed, tangled in sheets, laughing. God, I can't believe he just left, Sloane said, running her fingers through Victor's hair. 5 whole days. Victor grinned. Does he suspect anything? Grant? No. He's too trusting. Too soft. Soft and rich. That's a dangerous combo. Sloane laughed. I know, right? Honestly, I don't even feel bad anymore. He's boring. He just sits around reading books and pretending he's some mysterious genius. Meanwhile, you actually run a billion-dollar company. So why'd you marry him? She didn't hesitate. The money, obviously. His family trust is worth like $3 billion. I figure I'd ride it out a few years, then divorce him and take half. Grant's hands clenched into fists. Victor kissed her shoulder. And now I have a better plan. You're making me EVP, right? Once the merger goes through, yeah, executive vice president, corner office, 7 figures. Perfect. Then I don't need him anymore. I'll file for divorce, take whatever the prenup lets me, and move on. I'll have my own money, my own career. Victor smirked. You're ruthless. I love it. I learn from the best. They kissed again. Then Victor's tone shifted, got serious. Speaking of the merger, did you get the files? Sloane nodded, reaching for her phone on the nightstand. Yeah, Grant left his laptop open last week. I photographed everything. Confidential investor docs, merger timelines, all of it. Grant's blood ran cold. Victor took her phone, scrolled through the photos, grinned. This is perfect. If we leak the right details to our buyer before the public announcement, we can move stock prices exactly where we need them. I'll make $50 million easy. You'll get a cut. How much? $5 million. Cash. Offshore. Sloane's eyes went wide. Victor, you earned it, baby. You're not just sleeping with the boss. You're helping me pull off the biggest insider trading play of the decade. They laughed, clinked their champagne glasses. And Grant Ellison, sitting in a hotel room 3 blocks away, watching his wife toast destroying him, didn't feel anything anymore. Just cold. Pure. Focus. Cold. He closed the laptop. Made a phone call. Marcus, I need a lawyer. The best you know. And I need a meeting with the board of Hale Dynamics. Quietly. No one can know. Grant, what are you planning? I'm taking everything. Grant returned to the penthouse on Friday night, exactly as planned. Sloane greeted him at the door with a bright smile and a hug. I missed you so much. He hugged her back, kissed the top of her head. Missed you too. They ordered takeout, watched a movie. She cuddled against him on the couch like nothing had changed. Like she hadn't spent the week in bed with another man. Like she hadn't just committed multiple felonies to help her lover steal millions. Grant played along, laughed at the jokes, held her hand. Inside, he was counting down. Saturday morning, Sloane mentioned her birthday. It's on Tuesday, she said, pouring coffee. I was thinking maybe we could do something big this year, like rent a venue, invite everyone. Grant looked up from his book. How big? I don't know. A ballroom? Maybe 200 people? Family, friends, people from work. She was practically glowing. Grant smiled. That sounds perfect. Let's do it. Her eyes lit up. Really? Yeah. You deserve it. Let me handle everything. I'll make it incredible. She threw her arms around him. You're the best husband ever. He held her close and thought, just wait. Sunday night, Grant decided to test her. They were in bed, reading, quiet and comfortable. Sloane, he said softly, can I ask you something? Of course. Is everything okay between us? She looked up, surprised. What do you mean? I don't know. You seem distant lately, like your mind's somewhere else. She closed her book. Baby, no. I'm just stressed with work. Victor's pushing everyone hard because of the merger. Victor. Yeah, my boss. I've told you about him. Right. Grant paused. Are you too close? Her expression didn't change. We work together. Why? Just wondering. You mention him a lot. She laughed, leaned over and kissed him. Grant, you're being paranoid. Victor's my boss. That's it. He looked into her eyes. Saw nothing. No guilt. No hesitation. Just lies. Okay, he said quietly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's fine. She kissed him again. I love you. I love you too. She turned off the light, curled up against him, and Grant stared at the ceiling in the dark, feeling nothing. The next night, Monday, he pushed harder. They were having dinner when he brought up again. Sloane, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. She set down her fork. Okay. Is there something going on between you and Victor? Her face went hard. Seriously? We're doing this again. No, Grant. No, I'm not doing this. You don't get to accuse me of. I'm not accusing. I'm asking. She stood up. You want the truth? Fine. Yes. I'm sleeping with my boss to get a promotion. The room went silent. Grant just stared at her. She crossed her arms, defiant. Victor's making me EVP, Executive Vice President. I've been working my ass off for this. And yeah, part of that means keeping him happy. And if you can't deal with it, then get a divorce. Grant didn't move, didn't speak, just looked at her. Sloane's voice softened, almost pitying. Grant, you're a good guy, but you're boring. You don't have ambition. You don't fight for anything. I need more than that. He nodded slowly. I understand. She blinked. You understand? Yeah. I'm sorry I made you feel trapped. I really am. She stared at him, confused. That's it? You're just okay with it? Grant stood, walked to the sink, rinsed his plate. I'm not going to beg you to stay, Sloane. If you want to leave, leave. If you want the divorce, we'll figure out. She stood there, stunned. Then she grabbed her purse. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. Okay. She walked to the door. Stopped. For what it's worth, I did love you once. I know. She left. The door clicked shut. Grant stood alone in the penthouse, pulled out his phone, and sent a single text to Marcus. It's time. Execute the plan. The moment Sloane walked out, Grant made his first call. Diana, it's Grant Ellison. I need you at my office. Tonight. Diana Torres was the most feared attorney in the city. She destroyed CEOs, buried politicians, and never lost a case that mattered. She arrived at Grant's penthouse at midnight, carrying a leather briefcase and wearing an expression that said she'd seen everything twice. This better be good, Grant. I was at a benefit dinner. He handed her a tablet. Watch this. She sat down, pressed play. 14 minutes later, she looked up, her face unreadable. How long have you known? 2 weeks. And you're just now calling me? I needed evidence. And I needed a plan. Grant sat across from her. I want everything. The divorce, the assets, the company. All of it. Diana raised an eyebrow. The company? Hale Dynamics. Victor Hale thinks he's untouchable. He's using my wife to commit insider trading. They're planning to manipulate stock prices before the merger announcement. I want him destroyed. Grant, revenge is expensive and messy. I'm not doing this for revenge. His voice went cold. I'm doing this because they broke the law. They stole from me, and they think I'm too weak to fight back. Diana smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. All right, let's bury them. Over the next 72 hours, Grant moved like a ghost. Monday morning, Diana filed for divorce. The papers wouldn't be served until Grant gave the signal, but everything was ready. The prenup was ironclad. Sloane walked away with nothing. No assets. No alimony. Just whatever she came into the marriage with, which was debt. Monday afternoon, Grant met with his financial team, froze all joint accounts, canceled every credit card in Sloane's name, locked her out of the trust fund access she thought she had. The cutoff was timed perfectly. Midnight on Tuesday, her birthday. Monday evening, Grant made a phone call to an old college friend named Nathan Pierce. Nathan was a senior analyst at the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. Nathan, I need to report crime. Grant? Man, I haven't heard from you in years. What's going on? Insider trading. I have evidence. Video, audio, photographs of confidential documents. And I need it investigated immediately. There was a pause. Grant, this is serious. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong. I'll send you everything tonight. But I need your word that this stays quiet until I say otherwise. You're asking me to sit on an active investigation? I'm asking you to let me handle this my way. Give me 3 days. After that, it's all yours. Nathan sighed. 3 days. That's it. That's all I need. Tuesday morning, the day of the party, Grant made his final move. He called Marcus. Is everything ready? Grant, are you sure about this? Once you pull this trigger, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. All right, the FBI has been briefed. The board meeting is set for tomorrow morning, and your video is ready to go. Good. Grant hung up. Then he called Sloane. Hey, beautiful. Happy birthday. Her voice was cold. Thanks. I know things have been weird between us, but I meant what I said. You deserve an incredible night. The ballroom is ready. 200 guests. I've handled everything. Silence. Then softer. Really? Really? I love you, Sloane. I always have. Whatever happens next, tonight is yours. He could hear her crying on the other end. Grant, I see you tonight, 7 o'clock. He hung up and felt nothing. The Grand Meridian Ballroom was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, gold accents, a live jazz band playing softly in the corner, tables draped in white silk, centerpieces bursting with roses and orchids, 200 guests in formal wear, sipping champagne and laughing. Sloane arrived at 7:15 in a custom red gown that probably cost $20,000. She looked like a movie star. Grant was waiting at the entrance in a tailored black suit, holding a bouquet of white lilies, her favorite. "Happy birthday," he said quietly. She took the flowers, stared at him. "Grant, I don't understand. After everything I said, you're my wife, and tonight is your night." He kissed her forehead. "Come on, everyone's waiting." He took her hand and led her into the ballroom. The crowd erupted into applause. Sloane's parents rushed over, hugging her, gushing about how beautiful she looked. Her friends from work were there. People from Hale Dynamics, junior managers, senior directors, half the executive team. And Victor Hale. He stood near the bar, watching Sloane with a smug smile, a whiskey in his hand. She caught his eye across the room. He winked. She blushed. Grant saw the whole thing and smiled. Dinner was served at 8. Filet mignon, lobster tail, roasted vegetables. The kind of meal that cost $300 a plate. People ate, laughed, gave toasts. Sloane's best friend, Rachel, stood up with a microphone. "I just want to say, Sloane, you deserve every bit of happiness in the world. You work so hard, you're so driven, and you never give up on your dreams. Here's to you, babe." Applause. Sloane's father stood next. "Sweetheart, your mother and I are so proud of the woman you've become." And Grant, he turned to Grant, raising his glass. "Thank you for loving our daughter the way you do. You're a good man." Grant raised his glass, nodded. Sloane looked down at her plate. Then Victor stood. The room quieted. "I don't usually do speeches," Victor said smoothly, his voice rich and commanding. "But Sloane is special. She's one of the most dedicated, hard-working people I've ever had the pleasure of working with. She's made sacrifices. She's gone above and beyond. And I'm proud to announce," he paused for effect, "that Sloane will soon be promoted to Executive Vice President of Hale Dynamics." The room exploded. Applause. Cheers. People standing. Sloane's face lit up like fireworks. She stood, tears in her eyes, waving at the crowd. Victor raised his glass. To Sloane, "May your hard work always be rewarded." Everyone drank. Grant sat at the head table, clapping politely, his face calm. But inside he was counting down. 3, 2, 1. The lights dimmed. A staff member wheeled out a massive projector screen at the front of the ballroom. The jazz band stopped playing. Sloane looked confused. "Grant, what's this?" He stood, taking the microphone from the band leader. "Everyone, thank you so much for coming tonight to celebrate my beautiful wife." His voice was steady, warm. "Sloane, I want to do something special for you. A tribute, a video montage of our life together." Sloane's face softened. "Grant, I hope you enjoy it." He pressed a button on a remote. The screen flickered to life. At first, it was exactly what people expected. Photos of Grant and Sloane on their wedding day, smiling, happy. Then the photos shifted to the penthouse, to the bedroom, and suddenly the screen showed Sloane and Victor tangled in sheets, kissing. The room went dead silent. Someone gasped. Sloane's face went white. "Grant, what are you?" "Keep watching," he said calmly. The video continued. Audio kicked in, crystal clear. Sloane's voice, "I don't even feel bad anymore. He's boring. He just sits around reading books and pretending he's some mysterious genius." Victor's voice, "So why'd you marry him?" Sloane, "The money, obviously." The crowd was frozen. Sloane's mother stood up, horrified. "Sloane, what is this?" But the video wasn't done. The camera zoomed in on Victor's face. "Victor, did you get the files?" "Sloane, Yeah, Grant left his laptop open last week. I photographed everything. Confidential investor docs, merger timelines, all of it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Then the final clip played. Victor and Sloan, toasting with champagne. Victor: if we leak the right details to our buyer before the public announcement, we can move stock prices exactly where we need them. I'll make $50 million easy. You'll get 5. Cash. Offshore. Sloan: Victor, I love you. The screen went black. The lights came up. Sloan was shaking, tears streaming down her face. Grant, please. Victor tried to move toward the exit, but 2 men in dark suits stepped in front of him. FBI. One of them held up a badge. Victor Hale, you're under arrest for insider trading, securities fraud, and conspiracy. Victor's face went gray. This is insane. I have lawyers. You'll need them. The agent turned to Sloan. Sloan Ellison, you're also under arrest. She screamed. No, this is a mistake. Grant walked slowly to the center of the room, microphone still in hand. Everyone stared at him. He looked at Sloan. Happy birthday, darling. His voice was ice. Your promotion just got approved. To federal prison. The FBI agents handcuffed Sloan and Victor. The ballroom erupted into chaos. People shouting. Phones out. Recording everything. But Grant wasn't finished. He turned to the crowd. I know many of you work at Hale Dynamics, and I want you to know something. The room quieted. Victor Hale is a criminal, but the company doesn't have to suffer for his crimes. He pressed another button on the remote. A new document appeared on the screen. Legal, official, majority shareholder transfer agreement. Grant Ellison, 51% ownership of Hale Dynamics. The room went silent again. Someone whispered, "What the hell?" Grant's voice was calm, measured. 15 years ago, Hale Dynamics was on the verge of bankruptcy. My family's investment fund quietly bailed them out. We've held 15% of the company ever since, through shell entities. Anonymous, silent. He let that sink in. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been buying shares. Quietly, through different accounts, different brokers. As of this morning, I own 51% of Hale Dynamics. Victor, halfway to the door in handcuffs, turned around, his face twisted in rage. You can't do this. Grant looked at him. I just did. He turned back to the crowd. Effective immediately, Victor Hale is terminated. The board has already been notified. I'll be stepping in as interim CEO until we appoint someone qualified. One of the executives in the crowd, a woman named Patricia Chun, the CFO, stood up slowly. Grant, is this real? Check your email, Patricia. The board meeting is tomorrow at 9. You're all invited. She pulled out her phone. Her eyes went wide. Grant looked at Sloan one last time. She was sobbing, mascara running down her face, wrists in cuffs. Grant, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He walked over to her, leaned in close, whispered so only she could hear. You wanted promotion, ambition, power. I gave you exactly what you earned. He straightened up. A process server in a waiter's uniform stepped forward, holding an envelope. Sloan Ellison? She looked up confused. He handed her the envelope. You've been served. Divorce papers. She opened them with shaking hands. Read the first line. Petitioner, Grant Michael Ellison. Grounds, adultery and fraud. Assets to respondent, $0. Her knees buckled. The FBI agents caught her before she hit the floor. Let's go, one of them said. They led her and Victor out of the ballroom. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Sloan looked back one last time, searching for Grant in the crowd. He stood at the front of the room, hands in his pockets, face expressionless. She mouthed the words, I'm sorry. He didn't respond, just watched her disappear through the doors. The party ended in silence. People filed out slowly, whispering, phones glued to their hands. By midnight, the story was trending on every social media platform. Hashtag bedroom conspiracy. Hashtag billionaire takedown. Hashtag Sloan's downfall. The media had a field day. News channels ran the story for weeks. Talk shows dissected every detail. Legal analysts debated whether Grant's revenge was genius or cruel. Grant didn't care. He spent the next 3 months restructuring Hale Dynamics, cleaned house, fired everyone involved in Victor's schemes, promoted honest people, stabilized the stock. The company didn't just survive, it thrived. Within 6 months, Hale Dynamics was worth more than it had ever been under Victor's leadership. Grant rebranded it, Ellison Dynamics. His name, his legacy. The trial was brutal. Victor Hale tried to fight the charges, hired the best lawyers money could buy. Didn't matter. The evidence was overwhelming. Video, audio, financial records. He was convicted on all counts. 15 years in federal prison. Sloan took a plea deal. 7 years. Her lawyer argued she was manipulated, coerced, in love. The judge didn't buy it. You knowingly participated in a criminal conspiracy. You betrayed your husband. You stole confidential information. Actions have consequences, Ms. Ellison. She was led away in an orange jumpsuit, photographers snapping pictures as she cried. The tabloids called it the bedroom conspiracy trial. It was the biggest corporate scandal of the decade. Grant never went to the trial. He didn't need to. His lawyers handled everything. He spent his time rebuilding, working, investing. One evening, 6 months after the party, he stood on his penthouse balcony, looking out at the city lights. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Victor's appeal was denied. Sloan's officially in custody. It's over. Grant stared at the message, then deleted it. He set his phone down, and for the first time in months, he felt something. Not happiness, not relief, just peace. 2 years later, Grant Ellison stood in the boardroom of Ellison Dynamics, looking out at the skyline. The company was now valued at $8 billion. He'd stepped down as CEO 6 months ago, handing the reins to Patricia Chun. She was brilliant, fair, everything Victor wasn't. Grant still owned the company, still made the big decisions, but he didn't need the spotlight. He never did. He sold the penthouse. Too many memories. Bought a quiet house in the mountains. Spent his days reading, hiking, investing in small startups run by people who actually cared. He never remarried, didn't date, didn't need to. One afternoon, his lawyer called. Grant, Sloan's up for parole in 3 years. She's been trying to reach you, sending letters through her attorney. Burn them, Grant said calmly. Grant, I mean it, Diana. Burn them. I don't want to hear her name again. There was a pause. Understood. He hung up, sat back in his chair, and smiled. Not because he was happy, but because he'd won. Not just the company, not just the money. He'd taken everything she wanted, everything she thought she deserved. Her career, her freedom, her future. And he'd done it without raising his voice, without losing his calm. He'd simply let her destroy herself. And watched. Here's what you need to understand. Grant Ellison didn't scream, didn't beg, didn't break down when his wife betrayed him. He planned, he waited, and when the moment was right, he struck with the force of a nuclear bomb. Sloan thought she was untouchable. Victor thought he was too powerful to fall. They were both wrong, because the quietest people aren't weak. They're just waiting for the right moment to show you exactly who they are. Never confess your crimes to a man who owns a boardroom, the evidence, and the patience to destroy you completely. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Drop a comment and tell me. Did Grant go too far, or did Sloan and Victor get exactly what they deserved? Hit that like button if you're Team Grant. Subscribe so you never miss another story like this. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent and devastating. See you in the next one.